Today's topic is water-soluble vitamin. What are the water-soluble vitamins? B complex and vitamin C. Okay. Now, vitamin B complex. B complex are group of vitamins that chemically not related to each other, but all of them functions as coenzymes in the cells. Okay. There are vitamin B1, B2, B1 is thiamine, B2 is riboflavin, the niacin, pyridoxine is B6, pantothenic acid, biotin, folic acid and vitamin B12. All of these forms the B complex group of vitamins. They are not chemically related, but they all act as coenzyme in the cells. Okay. Now, the vitamin B1, it is called thiamine. We have learned another term, thiamine. Thiamine, the spelling is T-H-Y-M-I-N-E, thiamine. It is the base present in DNA. Okay? And the thiamine, T-H-I-A-M-I-N-E, thiamine, it is the vitamin B1. Now, source is the aleuron layer of cereals. Aleuron layer present in the unpolished rice or the whole wheat flour. So, this unpolished rice and the whole wheat flour, it has more nutritive value than the polished grains, because the unpolished rice or the whole wheat grain contain this aleurin layer, and after polishing this layer goes out. So the unpolished one contain the vitamin thiamine, but the polished one not containing due to loss of this aleurin layer. Okay. Now yeast is another good source of thiamine. Now the structure. The thiamine contains a substituted pyridine ring connected to a substituted thiazole ring by means of methylene bridge. Look, this is the substituted pyrimidine ring and this is the substituted thiazole ring. Both combines with this methylene bridge and forms this thiamine molecule. And it is with pyrophosphate, combining with pyrophosphate forms thiamine pyrophosphate, which is the active form of this vitamin thiamine. So, in the cells, this thiamine pyrophosphate acts as coenzyme. Okay. Now, this thiamine with help of ATP and thiamine pyrophosphate transferase, ATP converted to AMP, so 2-phosphate is released and this 2-phosphate gives the pyrophosphate bond, okay, with this thiamine and form the thiamine pyrophosphate. This is the active form. Now the physiological role of this thiamine. Thiamine has a key role in the carbohydrate metabolism. It is the coenzyme for 3 multi-enzyme complex that catalyze oxidative decarboxylation reaction. Okay. So, thiamine pyrophosphate helps in 3 multi-enzyme complex which catalyze the oxidative decarboxylation reaction. First one is the pyruvate dehydrogenase in carbohydrate metabolism. Next is alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase in citric acid cycle. And the third one is branch chain ketoacid dehydrogenase. So all are dehydrogenases in metabolism of leucine, isoleucine and valine. So this TPP or thiamine pyrophosphate helps in the multi-enzyme complex that catalyze the oxidative decarboxylation and helps in acts as coenzyme in the dehydrogenase enzymes like pyruvate dehydrogenase, alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, and branch chain ketoacid dehydrogenase, 3 dehydrogenase enzymes that needs the TPP or thiamine pyrophosphate. Another reaction where thiamine pyrophosphate acts as coenzyme is the trans-ketolase enzyme in pentose phosphate pathway. So these reactions are very specific for thiamine pyrophosphate or the vitamin B1 thiamine. Now, thiamine triphosphate has a role in nerve conduction. It phosphorylates and activates chloride channel in nerve membrane. Okay, so thiamine also helps in nerve conduction. These are the reactions: pyruvate to acetyl-CoA by pyruvate dehydrogenase and thiamine pyrophosphate acts as coenzyme. Alpha-ketoglutarate to succinyl-CoA plus CO2. Both reactions are decarboxylation reactions, means CO2 is released. Here the enzyme is alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase and the coenzyme is thiamine pyrophosphate. The recommended daily allowance is 2 to 3 milligram per day. Thiamine nutritional status can be assessed by erythrocyte trans-ketolase activity. We have noticed that thiamine pyrophosphate also helps in the trans-ketolase reaction in the pentose phosphate pathway. So the thiamine activity is measured by this trans-ketolase activity. Okay. The nutritional status means how much thiamine is present in the body or how it acts. The nutritional status can be assessed by erythrocyte trans-ketolase activity. Is the earliest manifestations seen even before clinical disturbances. So if there is thiamine deficiency within our body, then the manifestations or the clinical manifestations will appear later. First we can detect this trans-ketolase activity will be reduced. So before the clinical disturbances have manifested. Okay. Thiamine level can be estimated by HPLC or high performance liquid chromatography. Okay. So thiamine activity we can measure either by trans-ketolase activity or by the HPLC method. Next, deficiency manifestations of thiamine. It results in beriberi. Okay. So B1 deficiency or the thiamine deficiency produce beriberi. Beriberi means weakness. The early symptoms are anorexia. Anorexia means defect in eating or there is poor appetite. Okay, anorexia. Dyspepsia means problematic digestion. Okay, heaviness, weakness. Subject feels weak and easily get exhausted. So vitamin B1 or thiamine deficiency produce beriberi. Now beriberi have three types, like wet beriberi. Here cardiovascular manifestations are prominent. Means if patient suffering from wet beriberi, there will be edema of the leg, face, trunk, serous cavities are the main features. So cardiovascular manifestations will be the main feature if patient suffering from wet beriberi. There will be palpitation, breathlessness and distended neck vein. Distended neck veins are observed. Death occurs due to heart failure. Okay, so wet beriberi, there is cardiovascular manifestations are more prominent. What are those cardiovascular manifestations? Edema of the leg, face, trunk, serous cavities, distended neck vein, palpitation, breathlessness and death occurs due to heart failure. Next is dry beriberi. Here CNS manifestations are more prominent. In wet beriberi, there is cardiovascular manifestations are more prominent. In dry beriberi, there is CNS manifestations are more prominent. Walking become difficult. Peripheral neuritis with sensory disturbances leading to complete paralysis. Okay, so dry beriberi patient present with CNS manifestations and it can lead to complete paralysis. Another term, infantile beriberi. Here, infant suffers from beriberi if the mother is suffering from the thiamine deficiency. So, it occurs in infants born to mother suffering from thiamine deficiency. Here also features are restlessness and sleeplessness are observed in infant. Okay, if the mother is suffering from thiamine deficiency, then the infant born to those mothers will shows this infantile beriberi. Features are restlessness and sleeplessness. Now another important term, Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. This Wernicke and Korsakoff, this name comes from two scientists. So Wernicke is the one scientist and Korsakoff another scientist. They discovered this Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. It is the encephalopathy. Encephalopathy includes the ophthalmoplegia, means eye muscles are paralyzed. Ophthalmoplegia. Nystagmus, dancing eye. Cerebellar ataxia, means patient cannot walk in a straight line. Cerebellar ataxia. With psychosis. Psychosis means the personality disorder, psychiatric problem, personality disorder. Okay, seen only when the nutritional status is severely affected. So when if there is little bit of thiamine deficiency, then there will be beriberi. But if there is severe deficiency for prolonged period, then there will be this Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. It is the encephalopathy with ophthalmoplegia, nystagmus, cerebellar ataxia, psychosis, seen when the nutritional status is severely affected. So, prolonged deficiency produce this syndrome. Another term, polyneuritis, common in chronic alcoholics. Okay. Now, alcohol utilization needs large doses of thiamine because thiamine, by means of thiamine pyrophosphate, TPP, it involves in carbohydrate metabolism or acts as coenzyme. So alcohol utilization needs large doses of thiamine. Okay, and alcohol also inhibits the intestinal absorption of thiamine. So it require more thiamine and it also inhibit thiamine absorption. So leading to thiamine deficiency. So in case of chronic alcoholics, there will be chronic deficiency and it produces polyneuritis. Another term is lactic acidosis. In thiamine deficiency and high carbohydrate diet, patient is deficient with thiamine, so P1 is absent, but he takes high carbohydrate diet. So the requirement is more, but patient is deficient with thiamine. Then the carbohydrate metabolism will be hampered and it will convert to lactic acid or pyruvate synthesis. Okay, so there will be increased lactic acidosis. Okay, in thiamine deficiency and high carbohydrate diet, plasma concentration of the lactate and pyruvate will be increased because the normal pathway of the carbohydrate metabolism will be hampered due to TPP deficiency, and it will lead to life-threatening lactic acidosis. Okay. These are horizontal ridges in nails in thiamine deficiency. Okay, the nail will be this type. There is horizontal ridges. It means thiamine is deficiency, and you should advise vitamin B complex capsules to patient. Okay. Next vitamin B2 or riboflavin. Okay. Structure, it has isoalloxazine ring. With help of ATP, it forms active coenzyme. What are the active coenzyme? Flavin mononucleotide, flavin adenine dinucleotide. You have learned these coenzymes in ETC, electron transport chain. So these enzymes containing riboflavin are called flavoproteins. Okay, the enzyme containing riboflavin are called flavoproteins. Riboflavin is heat stable. It is heat stable. Now, riboflavin is the first vitamin of this B complex group of vitamins that is isolated in pure state. So, it is the first B complex component to be isolated in pure state. Lactoflavin in milk. Hepatoflavin, hepato means liver, it is found in liver. Ovoflavin, ovo means egg, it is found in egg, are chemically identical to riboflavin. Okay, so the lactoflavin, hepatoflavin and the ovoflavin all are chemically identical to riboflavin. Now the dietary sources: liver, dried yeast, egg, whole milk, milk product, fish, whole cereals, legumes and green leafy vegetables. These are the natural sources of this riboflavin. Because of its intense yellow color, riboflavin color is yellow and the intensity of the color is such high, so it is used as additive in the food industry. Okay, so riboflavin is widely used as a food additive. Daily requirement is same like thiamine, that is 2 to 3 milligram per day. Now, this is the structure of this riboflavin. Here, D-ribitol and the flavin nucleus, okay, forms this riboflavin structure. You need not remember these structures. It is for better understanding. This is the riboflavin molecule. Now, flavin mononucleotide. The difference is only the phosphate is attached with this riboflavin molecule and forms this flavin mononucleotide. In case of flavin adenine dinucleotide, there is another adenosine monophosphate is attached. So, riboflavin plus adenosine diphosphate. Okay, adenosine diphosphate. Riboflavin plus adenosine diphosphate forms this flavin adenine dinucleotide. Okay, here the adenine, ribose means adenosine, adenosine monophosphate and this riboflavin mononucleotide FMN plus AMP forms this FAD or flavin adenine dinucleotide. Now riboflavin by flavokinase ATP converted to ATP produce this FMN, only the phosphate is attached and form this flavin mononucleotide. Then FAD synthase, ATP converted to pyrophosphate and the AMP portion is attached to FMN and produce this FAD. Okay, and this is the site of hydrogen attachment, ring of FAD, and it forms the FADH2. Here the hydrogen atoms are attached, okay, and form the FADH2. Now the biological role. P2 or riboflavin has central role in energy yielding metabolism. That is, you have found the FMN, FAD in the electron transport chain carrying the electrons. Flavin coenzymes are electron carriers in oxidative reaction. Okay. Now, FMN dependent enzymes. These are amino acid oxidation. FMN reduced to FMNH2. In case of amino acid oxidation, the FMN is required and FMN reduced to FMNH2. In respiratory chain, electrons are transported as NAD plus to FMN to coenzyme Q. Okay. In respiratory chain, electron transportation occurs from NAD plus to FMN and to coenzyme Q. So these two reactions are FMN dependent enzymes where FMN is required. One is amino acid oxidation, another is electron transport chain. Now the FAD dependent enzymes succinate to fumarate. Here FAD converted to FADH2 by the enzyme of succinate dehydrogenase. This succinate converted to fumarate. Acyl CoA by help of enzyme acyl CoA dehydrogenase. Here alpha beta unsaturated acyl CoA is produced and FAD converted to FADH2. So you may ask in short notes like explain the reactions, describe two reactions of FMN where FMN is used or FAD is dependent enzymes. Tell some notes, tell some example of FAD dependent enzymes. Okay, so these are important. In our body there is only two reactions where FMN is used. These are amino acid oxidation and electron transport chain. FAD dependent enzymes succinate dehydrogenase, it produces the succinate to fumarate. Acyl CoA dehydrogenase, it produces alpha beta unsaturated acyl CoA from acyl CoA. In both the reaction FAD converted to FADH2. So dehydrogenase reaction. Okay. Xanthine to uric acid by xanthine oxidase. Pyruvate to acetyl CoA by pyruvate dehydrogenase. Both reaction, in both these reaction FAD converted to FADH2. Okay. So in our body only two reactions of FMN and only 4 reaction of this FAD. These are this example. Now the riboflavin deficiency. Natural deficiency is uncommon because the body synthesizes the riboflavin naturally by the help of intestinal flora. So it is not fatal because there is deficiency is uncommon, so not fatal. Deficiency is characterized by chelosis, fissured lip, okay, glossitis, inflammation of the tongue, magenta colored tongue, angular stomatitis, inflammation of the corner of the mouth, circumcorneal vascularization means vascularization around the cornea, seborrheic dermatitis and irregular nail ridges. Now this is the glossitis with magenta colored tongue, okay, chelosis, fissured lip, angular stomatitis, okay, angle of mouth inflamed, angular stomatitis. In case of B2 or riboflavin deficiency, this is the circumcorneal congestion. Around the cornea there is congestion, vascularization, circumcorneal vascularization, okay, around the cornea. And irregular ridges. In case of thiamine deficiency there is horizontal ridges, here vertical, irregular ridges in nail in riboflavin deficiency. Nutritional status is assessed by the measurement of the activation of erythrocyte glutathione reductase by FAD added in vitro. So, in case of thiamine activity, we measure the transketolase activity of erythrocyte. Here we measure the erythrocyte glutathione reductase activity. It can be asked in MCQ type of questions. Okay. Here we measure the erythrocyte glutathione reductase activity by adding the FAD in vitro. Okay. Thus the B2 or riboflavin status is assessed. Now the next vitamin is in the B complex group is the niacin or nicotinic acid, also called pellagra preventing factor. It prevents the pellagra. Nicotinic acid is a vitamin. We also found another term similar, nicotine, which is a potent poison from the tobacco. Niacin is not strictly a vitamin because it is synthesized in the body from the essential amino acid tryptophan. In case of tryptophan metabolism, we have found that tryptophan produces the niacin. Okay, so niacin is not strictly a vitamin because it is produced from the tryptophan in our body. Now, 60 milligram of tryptophan is equivalent to 1 milligram of dietary niacin. So, how we measure the niacin content in the body? It is the milligram of preformed niacin we have taken in our diet and 1 by 60 of milligram of tryptophan, because 60 milligram of tryptophan produce 1 milligram of niacin. So, the whole niacin content in milligram is milligram preformed niacin plus 1 by 60 into milligram of tryptophan. Now the chemistry of niacin. Niacin is pyridine 3 carboxylic acid. So chemical name pyridine 3 carboxylic acid. Niacinamide, amide. So it is the acid amide. Acid plus amide, niacinamide. In NAD plus or NADP plus, the reactive site is the carbon atom 4 and the nitrogen atom of the nicotinamide ring. So the reactive site is carbon atom 4 and the nitrogen atom of the niacinamide ring. Now this is the pyridine ring. This is the niacin or the nicotinic acid. This is the nicotinamide acid amide, and this is the nicotine in tobacco. You need not remember the structure of these vitamins. Okay. Now the coenzyme form of niacin. Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, NAD plus, and NADP plus, that is the nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. These are the coenzyme form of this niacin. So in case of thiamine, the coenzyme form is thiamine pyrophosphate. In case of riboflavin, it is the FMN and FAD. In case of niacin, it is the NAD plus and the NADP plus. Now, this is the adenine mononucleotide and this is the nicotinamide mononucleotide. Both form this nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Okay, this is the structure. And this is the hydrogen atom, NADH plus H plus, NAD plus H2 converted to NADH plus H plus. Here this hydrogen atom is attached. Now the biological role of this niacin. NAD plus, here also these enzymes are NAD plus dependent enzymes. These are specific, and you may given in the MCQ question, three are right, one is wrong, or select the correct one. Okay, so these reactions are important. Here NAD plus dependent enzyme, lactate dehydrogenase, lactate to pyruvate conversion. Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. This reaction is by this enzyme glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, and here NAD plus is used as coenzyme. Pyruvate dehydrogenase, pyruvate to acetyl CoA. Okay, now and alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, alpha-ketoglutarate to succinyl CoA, and beta-hydroxyacyl CoA dehydrogenase produce beta-hydroxyacyl CoA to beta-ketoacyl CoA. So these are the 5 reactions where the NAD plus is used as coenzyme. Okay, the lactate dehydrogenase, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, pyruvate dehydrogenase, alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, and beta hydroxyacyl CoA dehydrogenase. These are the 5 enzymes which require NAD plus as coenzyme in their reactions. So these are specific. You may given short note or you may ask this in MCQ type of questions. Okay. Now NADPH utilizing enzyme where NADPH is used. These are also specific in our body. Here the keto-acyl ACP dehydrogenase which produce keto-acyl ACP to beta hydroxyacyl ACP. So these enzymes require NADPH, HMG-CoA reductase, HMG-CoA to mevalonate. These reaction require this enzyme and here NADPH is used. Methemoglobin to hemoglobin. Here also NADPH is used as coenzyme. Folate reductase. Folate to dihydrofolate to tetrahydrofolate formation. Here also NADPH is used as coenzyme and phenylalanine hydroxylase. Phenylalanine to tyrosine. This conversion also require this NADPH. So these are the 5 specific enzymes which require NADPH as their coenzyme. Now from where this NADPH is generating, it is also specific. There are in our body only 4 reactions are there where NADPH is generated. Okay, so it is very much important. NADPH generating reactions, these are the only these 4 reactions. What are those? Glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase in HMP shunt pathway. You have noticed that HMP shunt pathway produce NADPH. Okay, so glucose 6-phosphate to glucose 6-phosphogluconolactone, this step produce NADPH. Glucose 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase. It converts 6-phosphogluconate to 3-keto-6-phosphogluconate. This reaction, this conversion produce NADPH. Cytoplasmic isocitrate dehydrogenase. This enzyme, this reaction produce NADPH, and another is malic enzyme, malate to pyruvate conversion. This produce NADPH. So these are the 4 specific reactions where NADPH is generating. Others, so here NADPH is generating and these are the 5 reactions where NADPH is utilizing. Okay. And all other reactions there NAD plus and NADH is utilized. Okay. These are the NADPH generating reaction and previous slide. These are NADPH utilizing enzymes. Okay. These are very much important. Now, niacin deficiency, it produces pellagra. Due to deficiency in tryptophan metabolism, we have found that tryptophan deficiency produces pellagra. Niacin also produces pellagra due to deficiency of tryptophan and niacin. It is characterized by 3D. 3D, which 3D? Dermatitis, diarrhea, dementia. Dermatitis means skin problem. What are those? Photosensitivity, bright red erythema in feet, ankle, face, increased pigmentation around the neck from the Cazel's necklace. Okay, in case of neck area, there is increased pigmentation which is called Cazel's necklace. Diarrhea, weight loss, nausea, vomiting, and dementia. These are the skin changes. Pellagra, skin change in feet. This is the Cazel's necklace, and this is the nail change. Deficiency in manifestations of niacin deficiency produce irregular and uneven surface of the nail. Irregular and uneven surface. Now another D is dementia. Dementia, depressive psychosis. Depressive psychosis means mental problem, okay, in chronic cases. So dementia, depressive psychosis in chronic cases. In case of acute cases, acute pellagra, there is delirium. Okay, so patient talking irrelevantly. Delirium is common in acute pellagra. Pellagra can occur as a result of disease despite of adequate intake of tryptophan and niacin. So if niacin intake or tryptophan intake is sufficient, still patient may develop pellagra if there is disease. What are those diseases? Heart nerve disease, carcinoid syndrome, isoniazid therapy, isoniazid antitubercular drug, okay, this therapy, deficient synthesis, and in pyridoxal deficiency, pyridoxal phosphate deficiency means vitamin B6 deficiency also produce pellagra. Now pellagra is seen in people whose staple diet is maize because niacin is in bound form. In case of maize diet, there is niacin is in bound form, so not produce the active form, so not available for any reactions, okay. NAD plus or NDP plus not produced as the niacin is in bound form. Sorghum, jowar or guinea corn contains leucine in high quantities. This leucine inhibits the quinolinate phosphoribosyl transferase QPRT enzyme. So leucine, which is present in sorghum or jowar in high quantities, this inhibit the enzyme QPRT, quinolinate phosphoribosyl transferase. So niacin cannot be converted to NAD plus. So there is active component of the niacin, that is the NAD plus is deficient and it produces pellagra. Next, the dietary source of niacin: dried yeast, whole cereals, peanut, legume, liver, meat, fish, rice, polishing. Okay, these are the sources of niacin. Recommended daily allowance 20 milligram per day. In case of thiamine and riboflavin, it is 2 to 3 milligram per day, but here it is 20 milligram per day. Now, the therapeutic use. The nicotinic acid inhibits the flux of free fatty acids from adipose tissue. So, the acetyl-CoA pool is reduced, hence serum cholesterol is lower. So, nicotinic acid inhibits the flux of free fatty acid from the adipose tissue. As the free fatty acid is decreasing, so the acetyl-CoA pool is also reduced. As the fatty acid is reduced, hence the serum cholesterol pool is also lowered. So it helps in lowering the cholesterol. So it is used in heart patient, acute MI. Okay, nicotinic acid is used, and high niacin level is useful to reduce the lipoprotein A level. So in case of myocardial infarction or dyslipidemia, we will find that niacin as a treatment option, drug therapy. Okay. Now the toxicity of niacin. Nicotinic acid causes transient vasodilatation, which cause histamine release and cause itching, burning, tingling sensation. So nicotinic acid causes transient vasodilatation and histamine release and cause itching, burning, tingling sensation. Higher intake leads to liver damage. Okay, these are the toxic manifestations of niacin. High niacin intake, there is toxic manifestations. Okay, up to this. So thiamine, riboflavin, and niacin. What are you have to learn what are the active coenzyme of this vitamin, that is the thiamine pyrophosphate, flavin mononucleotide, flavin adenine dinucleotide. And in case of niacin, it is NAD plus or NADP plus. And what are the reactions or what are the biological role of these active forms of these vitamins? Okay. If there is niacin is the question, you have to write NAD plus dependent enzymes, NADP plus dependent enzymes. You have asked, if you have asked what are the from where NADP plus is generated, so you have to write those 4 reactions. Okay. If you asked FMN dependent enzymes or FAD dependent enzymes, you have to write the reactions. Okay. The enzymes where FAD or FMN is acts as coenzyme. Okay. And what are the deficiency manifestations? Beriberi may come as short note. In case of beriberi, you have to write the wet beriberi, dry beriberi, and the infantile beriberi. Okay. And in case of riboflavin, you have to mention the what are the deficiency manifestations, nail changes, okay, chelosis, and glossitis. These are. And in case of niacin deficiency, you have to mention the pellagra, the 3D, that is the dermatitis, dementia, and diarrhea. Okay. And this you have to learn by heart. Okay. The deficiency manifestations, biological role, and the active forms. Okay.